We have Carolyn from Keep, who is going to give us an overview of how to integrate Keep into your hacks. And without further ado, I will give the floor over to you, Carolyn.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. Hello, everybody. Before I jump in, I just want to give a disclaimer. So this talk was supposed to be Matt Luongo, project lead, who is designed most of these systems and is much more technical than I am. So this overview today is going to be a little bit more high level, more pointing out where you can find different resources. I'm going to talk through the mechanism design and really how both the Keep network and tBTC work. But the more sort of nitty gritties around deploying some of this stuff, I'm going to be pointing you to our Discord, which is where you can talk directly with our team and some more technical documentation. So this may be a little bit of a shorter presentation, and maybe you'll have some time at the end to jump into the community. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And let me know if you can't see anything, but otherwise I'm just going to keep on moving through this. All right, so this is the good stuff, right? I mean, we're really excited to be here and offering prizes at ETH Global. We love ETH Global. And this is what we're going to be giving out, $5,000 equivalent in Keep tokens. And the top prize, grand prize, will be $3,000. And then roughly for runners up, depending on what we see, what we like, that'll total $2,000 in Keep tokens. Oops. And so quickly, this is all up on the ETH Global website, and I'll talk about these a little bit more in depth, but these are some of the prompts and project ideas we put out there. We'd like to see some swaps, some DeFi integration projects. It'd be cool to see some folks do something around Keep operator pools. tBTC Tornado Cash, that's been a hackathon favorite for a while, and we'd love to see people continue to work on that. New random beacon use cases. This is kind of just a broad one around like the Keep random beacon. tBTC gas magic. So this is a sort of an addition to tBTC and the flow, and trying to obfuscate some of the gas there to help Bitcoiners. And then lastly, it'd be great to see somebody do something with the TDT, which is the tBTC systems NFT. And I'll talk a little bit more about that, but it's a cool component that you could maybe do some stuff with. All right, but first I'm going to talk about like what is Keep, what is tBTC. We'll walk through it. So this is the broad overview. Keeps an interoperability and privacy infrastructure, right? So it is, it keeps our private data stores on public blockchains, essentially. That's the simplest way to put it. So they're off-chain containers for private data. And the big use case right now is tBTC. So this allows for bridges between public blockchains. One of the big components of Keep is the random beacon. And so this is much like the random beacon that you'll hear about on other chains, like the ETH chain, for example, coming up. But we've built it and it's been live for several months, and it uses true randomness to ensure work selection. And then lastly, the second component here is threshold ECDSA, and this allows for safe multi-sig, essentially. ECDSA is a tech that's been used by other chains. I think like Binance chain uses it. So we've got our own implementation. Super quickly about Keep, the token, since the prize here is awarded in Keep, want to make sure folks understand a little bit about what the token is and what that means. So Keep is a work token, and you have to stake Keep to perform work and earn rewards on the network. And all apps are built on the Keep network. So I think one analogy that we like to use is Keep is maybe most similar to something like Atom on Cosmos, where it's a staking coin, it's a work token, and if you have it, you want to stake it. So, and this is just a straightforward definition of what that work means. Computation and availability required to select and assemble and read those off-chain keeps. Oh, and I want to mention briefly, what you can do right now with your keep, and what we're going to be rolling out in the next month around the Keep network, the Keep network's public distribution. And so what we're going to be doing is distributing about 20% of Keep's total supply to people who are staking ETH and acting as tBTC signers. And I'll talk a little bit more about exactly what that mechanism looks like. But essentially here, what this is showing is that if you're an existing Keep holder, which is the way tBTC works right now, you can stake Keep and also bond ETH, right, to participate as a tBTC signer, and the rewards that you can earn there are in ETH, Keep, and tBTC. And when the stake drop opens up, the public distribution, this is going to allow people who don't own Keep, which right now is way larger pool. There's not a lot of Keep liquidity out there right now. Allows people to bond ETH and participate as a tBTC signer. And if they are successful after a 6-month term, because that's how long the tBTC term lasts, they then earn some of these Keep rewards. So essentially what this is showing here is the Keep stakers are the ones that are already running the network. And they've got more, just a different sort of profile here for earning rewards. Oh, and this is just what the rewards curve looks like for that stake drop over several months. Just wanted to give folks an idea of what's up with the Keep network and the Keep token over the next few months, and then this is going on for at least a year, if not longer. I'm going to jump next into tBTC because I think that this is more relevant for most of the challenges out there. So tBTC, the quick definition is it's built on Keep, right? But it's a bridge, right? This is bringing Bitcoin to DeFi. It's a one-to-one peg Bitcoin on Ethereum. And the general pitch is that this allows for people to use Bitcoin on Ethereum, so you can get leverage on your Bitcoin. It's a trust minimized design. Matt doesn't like to say trustless, but it is much more decentralized than other wrapped or pegged Bitcoin on Ethereum designs out there. And lastly, yes, I already alluded to this, but the way that it works is ETH bonded Keep stakers are securing each Bitcoin deposit. And I'll walk through that in a bit more detail. But first, I'm going to do a quick kind of walkthrough of why and how we got here, because I think it's helpful to understanding the design choices that we made. The first question here that, the reason why we built tBTC on Keep is, asking ourselves these questions. Like, DeFi is really huge. It's super exciting right now, and the hottest thing in the Ethereum community, without a doubt. But there's this huge opportunity, right? There is so much more Bitcoin than Ethereum. Really, Bitcoin's still king. So naturally, when we think about wanting to bring more collateral into DeFi, looking to Bitcoin makes a lot of sense. So how can we bring DeFi into Bitcoin? And also the other way to ask this is, how can you make Bitcoin available everywhere? This is sort of the Bitcoin POV. And then the other question here is, when sidechains, right? If you've been in the space for a while, and if you're technical, people have been talking about Bitcoin sidechains for a super long time, but there just hasn't been anything out there that works well or that is decentralized. So it's about time, right? Quickly, some of the other models, you've seen federations in the past. Federation is basically when there's an MFN multisig, it's some trusted decentralized party, and you give them their Bitcoin and you give them some coin. They give you a coin that represents that Bitcoin, right? So it's great because you get that price exposure to Bitcoin, and it is a very simple implementation. You don't have to write much Solidity to have like a tBTC type thing, which is great, but definitely some drawbacks, right? That's not seizure resistant. Collateral stolen by custodians, right? We're not in crypto to trust some centralized institution to interact on chain, right? So to me, this sort of federation model is really not what we should be looking at or going for. The other thing that we've seen out there real quick is synthetics. So you guys are probably familiar with this. It's like this algorithmic, there's an algorithm that pegs, a token to some sort of asset out there, which is great. And it's censorship resistant, right? Because if you've got some sort of representation of an asset on chain, nobody's going to try to steal that, right? But definitely there's some risks there, right? There's a lot of, I think, FX risk in the space. You see all these over collateralized things kind of stacking on top of each other. And the more that you do that, the more that there's some sort of risk of like black swan event sort of things. So definitely risk there. And then the second thing is you can't redeem it for Bitcoin. So if you're actually a Bitcoiner that holds Bitcoin and you're considering using Bitcoin on Ethereum, using a synthetic is not attractive at all because it's not actually real Bitcoin. So this is why we built tBTC, right? We wanted to see a censorship resistant, fully Bitcoin backed ERC20 token. Well, Ethereum, of course, at first. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what tBTC is, how it works. And this is the quick one-liner is it's a relayed SPV, multi-federation, and ETH bonded. So bonded multi-federated PEG is the term that we use. And what that means is that relayed SPVP, you're actually checking Bitcoin transactions on chain, right? With the simple payment verification. Many federations, so that means every single new deposit, every time somebody wants to mint a tBTC, a brand new federation of signers is formed. And then lastly, there's recourse, right? Every single signer set is bonded heavily in ETH. It's 150% in ETH to the value of the Bitcoin. So there's real on-chain recourse if you misbehave. So that's the bonded multi-federated PEG for tBTC. This is what it looks like. So you see here that we're talking to two blockchains. There's the Ethereum chain on the top and the Bitcoin chain on the bottom. So this diagram here goes left to right. So in the beginning, the depositor, the user requests a deposit creation. This sends a ping to the Ethereum chain. And the Keep network here is using the random beacon to create a signing group, right? And so this signing group is a 3 out of 3 multi-sig, essentially. It's a ECDSA Keep, and the group comes together, and then you see they generate this PKH hash. This is the public Bitcoin wallet address, right? And then at that moment, once it's generated, that Bitcoin address is sent to the user. The user sends Bitcoin to the chain, right? Or to the signing group, sorry, to the Bitcoin chain. And over time, the signing group receives this Bitcoin. And then this third step here is proving that the Bitcoin was actually sent, right? In the system, we wait 6 blocks. So that is a little bit of time on the Bitcoin blockchain, but we want to be safe. And then the proof there, here in step 3, is sent to the Ethereum chain. That's the SPV proof. And then once the signing group here like receives that proof, they say, okay, and they enable tBTC mint. And that's the last step there, is the user saying, great, my Bitcoin deposit has been proven, and I would like to mint some tBTC. And there we go. That's how you get tBTC at the end. Getting a little bit more into, I'm gonna escape this and sort of zoom in so we can see it better. Okay, do this here. This is the user flow. So if you're interested in building some integrations perhaps for tBTC, I think it's helpful to understand what's actually happening in the UX from the user perspective, right? So, and this is based on, I'll show you the links for everything. There's some resources, but this is based on the implementation dApp that we've built, but really this is like generally the flow for anybody. So you start, you connect your wallet. It's going to ask you to choose a deposit size. So one interesting feature of tBTC is that they're fixed lot sizes. Initially it started with just one Bitcoin, and then we expanded downwards. So we've got, I think, half a Bitcoin, like 0.2, 0.1, and 0.01 for testing. And then when we launched, we pretty much immediately, it was right in the middle of like Uniswap token drop. So gas prices were just like highest they've ever been. So we pretty immediately put in place 5 and 10 Bitcoin lot sizes, which is much more economical if you're trying to mint. And so here, this is the first step though, is selecting, all right, what's the lot size? How much do you want to mint? And then it's going to, the dApp asks you, okay, create this deposit address. And this is when the user's signing some MetaMask transactions and requesting that the signer group comes together and that they give them a Bitcoin address. And so there's gas fee there, of course. And at this point, this unique address is created. They get a QR code, an address. The user sends Bitcoin from a Bitcoin wallet. And then there's this period of waiting. And this is the 6 Bitcoin blocks that I mentioned. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But what is interesting here, which I haven't talked about yet, is the idea of a tBTC deposit ticket, the TDT. This is the NFT component that comes in. So what happens is when you send your Bitcoin, after, I think it's just one confirmation. So actually this maybe should go after one, but that's a technicality. After one block confirmation, you get this NFT in your wallet. And what this NFT means is, or what it's for is a couple things. Essentially what it is, it's like a unique identifier for each Bitcoin deposit. And it's associated with the exact UTXO of the Bitcoin you sent. And 2 things it's useful for. One is if you're somebody that really cares about about making sure that you redeem the exact same Bitcoin that you initially deposited, you need this unique identifier to be able to redeem that exact same UTXO. And that's useful for, I guess it's more kind of like a business legal sense. So you can say, like, look, it's always in my possession. I got it back. I didn't sell it. And so that's one thing. And interesting thing to note here is that there is a deposit term for every single deposit, which is 6 months. And that is the point at which the signers get paid their fee, which is 5 bips. It's a small fee right now in the system. And after that 6-month period, if somebody has not redeemed that specific deposit using the NFT TDT token here, that deposit becomes, I think, unlocked is the term, and that anybody who's coming to redeem tBTC and can redeem that Bitcoin deposit now. So that's one cool thing about it. The other cool thing about it is you can actually use that TDT to create other applications or interfaces on top of it that allow you to abstract away all of the waiting time, all of the other 5 block confirmations. And so, for example, you can imagine like maybe an exchange or a DeFi dApp that is building like a confirmation as a service layer. So people are coming with their Bitcoin and they know they don't want to wait. They want tBTC immediately. So after sending in the Bitcoin and one confirmation, the service could say, okay, for a small fee, I'm just going to, give you some tBTC immediately, and charge that fee for the risk that they're taking on, that like maybe that this won't like confirm at the very end of the day. So that TDT NFT allows you to build systems like that to improve the UX. Moving on, these last parts here are fairly simple. Option A is really what most people are going to be doing, but there is an option here. I'll talk about option B, is to say, I'm going to prove with the SPV proof, and I won't mint tBTC, but I will hold on to my TDT and I could come back and mint tBTC later. From the vending machine is the name of the mechanism with TDTs and tBTC at the very end there. But most people will go through option A, where they're saying, great, my confirmations have gone through. I want to prove it, send the SPV proof in, and then immediately mint tBTC and have that there. Okay, I'll jump back into that. So that is the flow. Okay, here's last details here. I'm going to share some resources and some links to help you guys in your journey. So first up, we've got a lot of stuff on tBTC. So a bunch of things linked here in GitHub. There's some brief documentation for an overview here. Basically, it kind of goes through everything I just talked through if you want to review. If you're building with tBTC, an interesting thing about it is it's 2 blockchains, right? And maybe folks at ETH Global have less experience, I would guess, with hacking on Bitcoin. We have some resources here. We recommend using Green Wallet if you're going to be using some testnet Bitcoin. You can always reach out to us if you need some testnet Bitcoin. I'll give you some ways to reach out, but there are faucets out there. Sometimes it can be hard to get, but it does exist. Here, so what have we got? So the tBTC dApp is on mainnet, linked there. And we also have the Robston connected dApp here. Smart contracts, tBTC.js. So that's a JavaScript. It's an easy way to integrate tBTC into your dApp. So definitely check out tBTC.js there. That was built for integrations largely. We've got the technical specs and some API documentation and some resources about the Bitcoin testnet and how to get some testnet Bitcoin. So on the Keep side, I will say the developer resources we have here are, we haven't quite optimized them for them the same way that we've done with those tBTC resources. So this stuff is a little bit more like technical and in the weeds, but here it is. We've got sort of the Keep core overview on GitHub is good to take a look at. But really the big thing here on Keep technical resources is to join our Discord. And at the end, I'm going to show you what that looks like and where to find some extra help. But that's where the vast majority of like our team is there constantly. We've got a lot of really heavy hitters in the community that have stepped up and created some great resources, so they can always help you. But this is what we have here. So here's our staking documentation. So this is our Git book that helps folks with Keep get set up and start staking. This staking documentation here also applies to staking on Robston, right? We're up on testnet. So that's a useful way to get going. Whoops, I missed a second link here, but I will make sure to link that before this gets shared to folks who are interested. But this is more technical documentation about spinning up nodes, the random beacon, and then the ECDSA client, 2 different clients. This third piece here, this is the Keep dashboard. This is a DApp that we've built, to go and stake your, testnet or mainnet Keep, and also bond ETH for tBTC, for tBTC deposits. You can do that through the Keep dashboard. And then a few other resources. So the random beacon that's yellow paper, that's more the technical spec. And then random beacon smart contracts are here. And then lastly, this is a great resource. A lot of it's less technical, but it's just very broad overview of Keep and tBTC resources generated by the community. It's a great website. Super quickly, I'm again, with all that context, going to walk through some of these projects, these prompts that we've put out. So here's the swaps. So this is really taking a look at the SPV relay. And the SPV relay, this is the proof that speaks to reads the Bitcoin chain data and speaks to Ethereum. And this is developed by James Presswich and the Summa team. So we'd love to see some interesting swaps using this. And there are the contracts there on GitHub to help you out. So this one, DeFi integration project, this is very broad. As you can see, there's a lot of potential for ways that you can use Bitcoin in DeFi dApps. You can really go wild. I wanted to provide these 2 examples here. So we went to ETH Denver and partnered up with Compound to do a challenge where I think the prompt was, a Compound and tBTC integration, just build something where you can earn with tBTC on Robston. Show us what you can do. So there were a couple of great winners here. I think the top one was Bitcoin Earn, so you can check that out. That's just a great interface for just taking Bitcoin, minting immediately, and start earning interest with tBTC to tBTC. And then RoboSaver was another great project that was a bit of a broader aim there. It was sort of like a yield managing DApp that allowed you to go directly from Bitcoin. So you can check that out. So less examples here. This is a new idea that Matt came up with, but this is something you can learn more about by jumping into our Keep documentation and also diving into Discord and chatting with some of the Keep stakers right now about and just learning about what it takes to run a node. Right now, there isn't a way to distribute rewards using pooled Keep, but there is a lot of definitely a lot of desire in the community for something like this. Because you'll see if you jump into Discord, we've got quite an active community, but not everybody has enough Keep to be able to stake. An important point here is there's a minimum stake requirement to run a node, and it's I think right now it's 90,000 Keep. It was 100,000. I think the idea is slowly over time that's going to go down, but I think right now it's at 90,000. tBTC Tornado Cash. So this is, like I mentioned, something that we've had other folks work on. We participated in a Gitcoin privacy hackathon and got a couple of really great submissions here around Tornado Cash. So these are the 2 examples. So basically, we'd love to see a strong single implementation here because we think this is a really exciting use case. Using tBTC and the Keep network essentially as a mixer. And so take a look. You can utilize both either of these projects. But, being able to see maybe the native Bitcoin deposit and redemptions would be really cool. So if privacy is something that interests you, this is a super cool project where there's a chance to sort of bring something that's already been worked on to completion. Oh yeah, this is another very broad one. Just generally like Keep and the Random Beacon. Random Beacon is definitely a general purpose blockchain tool. So there's a lot of things that you could do here. Randomness is very useful. tBTC is the first example of us using the Random Beacon. But there's a lot of other ways, maybe in like gaming, for example. I don't know. It's use your imagination. Okay, and I think this is, we have 2 more. So this one, this is, actually, I think this is my favorite because if you think about the main aims of tBTC, it's really about like, let's put that Bitcoin to use. There's a lot of Bitcoin out there. A lot of Bitcoin holders and users don't necessarily, contrary to maybe what you see on Twitter and the Bitcoin maximalist discourse, honestly, the majority of Bitcoin users just don't know a lot about Ethereum. It's more ignorance. Ethereum is a lot more complex than Bitcoin. So wouldn't it be great if we could offer people who hold Bitcoin, offer Bitcoiners a way for them to earn yield, to earn more money on their Bitcoin, continue to stack sats in a decentralized way, but build it, but do it in a way where they don't have to like learn a whole bunch of stuff about how to use Ethereum and how to use MetaMask and all this stuff, because that can definitely, that can definitely be a blocker for new users and adoption. And then lastly, tBTC NFT. So the TDT token in the system it's unique, and right now for most users in the interface, it's kind of hidden, but it's there. I walked through the two reasons why we built it into the design there, but I think that there's a lot of creativity that could be tapped there. So yeah, I don't know. I sort of talked about a service, right? This confirmation as a service use case, but potentially there's other things that you could do with the TDT. I think currently at this time, I mean, tBTC's only been live for about 3 weeks now. So the sky's the limit in terms of things on mainnet that have yet to be built. So we haven't seen anything like this yet in terms of the confirmation as a service. So that's definitely a possibility. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to show you really quickly our Discord, but this is the big call to action because I know, again, I don't have the same technical chops as Matt, and this is like, it was the last minute. Matt unfortunately was ill, so I jumped in to give a more broad overview. But everything that you would need is there in our Discord. Let's see. I'm going to switch over really quickly and just show you what this looks like here. Okay. All right, so here is my Discord. This is Keep Discord. I'm guessing that a lot of you are familiar with Discord, but I just want to point out really quickly, when you do jump in, a good place to start here at the top is README. I mean, announcements, this is news and resources, but really welcome stake drop here. So this is, we labeled it this because the majority of people coming into our Discord are here because they've learned about the stake drop and they want to know more about how to earn keep later on. So this is like our encyclopedia here of, I think for you guys, more of these like staking guides and resources is what you'd be looking for. So definitely check that out. And then here in general, or tBTC protocol and Keep protocol are good channels for asking questions from our team just about how the protocol works. Development, this is more people who are working on projects. What I'm going to do is, oh great, somebody did it for me, beautiful. I was going to create this after, but I'm glad I've got a team working on this. But so this is your channel. We have a group of, our team is in here, and we also have a group of, they're the round table knights is what they've called themselves, but it's like a group of community moderators and experts that have been like staking for months. They know just as much as our team. And so they're really going to be in here helping you guys if you have any questions. And then the last thing here is under staking, I'll just point out that this is, we have here staking resources. This is more updated information if you're trying to get a node running and understand about staking. Our community folks are dropping in new resources all the time, new guides. If there's updates, that'll be here. And then if you have more specific questions around how does the random beacon work, getting the node up and running, how does the ECDSA client work, getting it up and running, and then troubleshooting here. This is where we've got a lot of community members. You're like having an issue, you're trying to get the node up and running. That's where you can go. Yes, and we've got some community projects here actually. So if you want to talk to the tBTC Tornado folks, and that's something you're interested in doing, we have that here, and tBTC swaps as well. I think those are the most important ones. I'm gonna pause here. There's I know I'm not at time yet, but I guess, would it make sense to open it up to questions?
Yeah, definitely. Let me just, yeah, everyone can unmute themselves as of now. If you'd like to ask Carolyn a question, jump in. I think we're good. Awesome. Oh, good technical presentation. Thanks, Fox. Great work, Carolyn. Thank you so much. So we know, everyone knows where to find you. Join your Discord. We know the channels. We will, of course, be seeing you in Discord. Awesome. Oh no. Weird. That's so weird.
Okay. Yeah, Zoom's been funny. I just wanted to say thank you, and I dropped the Discord link, and also the slide deck here that has all the resource links. Is that something that, I mean, I can drop it here in the chat, but is that a resource that I can somehow?
Yeah, we can get that in the. Yeah, definitely. Perfect. So I'll grab that and send it out as soon as we get off this call.
Okay. Great.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Carolyn. I know people are going to be really excited, especially those tBTC Tornado folks.
Yes.
Cool. Well, have a great day. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.